I got it. It's fine. It's fine. Okay. That was rough. Nobody talked to me. We're good. Except for one brave little somebody. Talking about you, Missile. By the way, Mr. Reckless Youth, there's a certain detective who needs that music box he found. When we get back to the present time, could you give it to her? Certainly, you have my word. You're back to the present. That all took a lot longer than I wanted it to be. And so Camilla ended up in the hands of the kidnappers. We weren't able to change that part. Then listen to my story without saying anything. I'm sorry. I wish there was something else I could have done. No, you did the best you could. After all, I'm sure she's alright. After all, she has me. Missile? Are you in there? Miss Lynn, leave Miss Camilla to me. I know I don't look like much right now, but I'm sure I can help her. Missile. Miss Lynn. Damn. I'm gonna leave it up to Missile. It looks like Missile is being left up to the wind. Oh. I have something to give you. Stop the park from being turned into a event housing site. Protect the park, the Rock of the Gods. Aren't you forgetting your promise? Oh, pardon me, pardon me. My apologies, this is for you. Oh. You kept the music box safe, didn't you? Thank you. Not at all. I was only doing what the Rock of the Gods would have wanted. What's the matter? Can I get your tongue? He's mesmerized by my beauty. Hey, the cat's not allowed to get your tongue. Excuse me, but are you... No, it couldn't be. Have we met before? Aren't you that little girl from that time? I'll never forget it. It was 10 years ago in this park. 10 years ago? Are you talking about... Lynn, you okay? We met this strange young man before, Lynn? I don't remember. They said 10 years ago in this park. There can only be one thing I can think of. Alright, spill the beans. Here in this path, the gods surely control fate. Today, 10 years from that day, we meet once again. If that isn't the power of the gods, then what else is it? Could just be coincidence. But apparently you know our lady detective here. Could you tell us about it? About what happened 10 years ago? Yes, of course. I was actually about to do just that. I just rock at the gods. Don't you know? It's right there in front of us. Is it the Mino statue? No, it's... missile. Wait a minute. You say gods, but do you mean dogs? Of course not. Don't be silly. It's no time for ridiculous word games. You're staying just above the Rock of the Gods now. Take a good look at that monument. Monument? Rock of the Gods. Temsic Park. The Rock of the Gods. The rock is buried in the ground right here. It's been there these 10 years. Ever since that day it flew down from the heavens and showed us a miracle. A miracle? So this rock you've been talking about is a meteorite? Precisely. It dropped from the sky on that day 10 years ago. Yes, of course. Surely you know all about it. Me? 10 years ago. That day I just happened to be passing through this park. I had no idea that it would change my destiny. The sun was going down, and through the gloom, I heard the scream of a little girl. Just calm down and drop that weapon. Stay back. If you come any closer, I'll shoot her. Right. I peeked out fearfully from the bushes and saw some shadowy figures. I didn't see the face of the criminal clearly. I knew I should do something to help, but I couldn't move. The tension was thick. It was painful. Just when I couldn't stand it any longer, that's when it happened. The sky suddenly turned bluish white. When it crashed into the ground, the meteorite gave off a shower of beautiful fragments. And then I saw it. One of those beautiful fragments pierced into the criminal's back. The judgment of the gods was brought down on the park that day. "10 years ago, the little girl that was you was saved by the Rock of the Gods. The Rock of the Gods was given the name Temsic, and still today it lies sleeping deep in the park's earth. I never knew about this Temsic. I always thought Detective Jowd was the one who saved me. You're very young then, and you passed out from the shock of being taken hostage. Of course you won't remember. That's funny. A huge incident like that should have caused quite a stir. Strange you never heard of it, Lynn. It is, isn't it? But now that I think about it, I remember I didn't want to think about what happened. I avoided the news and I never came back to this park again. That's why I didn't know anything about it. The meteorite was named Temsic out of the name of this park that it fell in. Then the Rock of the Gods was forgotten. Now an awful thing is happening. They're talking about turning the park into a housing site. I'll never forget the miracle I witnessed that day. So I've taken up residence in this park. And I'm trying to appeal to the people. Protect the gods, Rock of the Gods. That is my mission. I see. I'm taking you with me, Missile. 10 years ago, the little girl that was Lynn wasn't aware of the meteorite. I get that. But Detective Jowd, on the other hand, there's no way he didn't know about this Temsic thing. If he knew, the man died and took his life. What was that confession of his all about? The rocks of the gods that fell from the sky 10 years ago changed the destinies of many people's lives, like the ripples in a pond when the pebbles dropped in. Quite literally, but well, not literally, but that's a butterfly effect for you. Because of this one event, so many things have changed. With every answer I get, I learn about a new mystery. Will I be able to break the chain of mysteries before dawn? Anyway, now that we have the evidence we need, we decide to meet up again at the minister's office. Besides, there are a few things I want to ask Detective Jowd. I'm very determined to finish the game tonight. Pikmin 4 comes out tomorrow and I intend to stream it. We found the music box, Detective Jowd. Good job, Lynn. I knew you would. Once everything had been resolved, I wanted to give this to him. Him? You mean Inspector Cabanella, right? I don't suppose he'll ever forgive me. Detective Jowd. Now then, let's get this thing open. There's a certain knack to doing it, you know. Yeah, brute force. See? Smells like a knack. It smells like brute strength to me. Here you are. You should find scorch marks on the grip. Scorch marks? When Camilla built her contraption, she used a special kind of string. It's the kind magicians use. It burns up in an instant and disappears. Why would little Camilla use something like that? I don't know. Maybe because she's a detective's daughter. Not leaving any evidence behind and all that. In the case report, there was mention of some scorch marks. When it happened, Camilla was watching from her hiding place. She saw the flame run to the gun, something she naturally didn't include in her design. I took the gun out of the frame and replaced it with a picture. If you remove the picture, you should find scorch marks behind it on the frame too. And those marks should match up with the ones on the gun. In other words, it proves the contraption existed there in that room that day. It didn't work the way our little girl intended, is that right? Exactly. Some cowardly culprit modified the design. That angle was never brought up in court. And so, as Justice Minister, I must call off the execution at this point. I knew I was right. It wasn't Detective Jowd. Now we can finally prove that. Thank goodness. Thank you, Lynn. In those eyes of yours, I see the eyes of that little girl from 10 years ago. Hey, speaking of 10 years ago... Speaking of 10 years ago, Sissel, if you hadn't come to my cell tonight, I would be gone by now, without ever having known any of this. This is what I deserve. It's what I told myself these past 5 years. But things are different now. Thanks to you, my eyes have finally been opened. Tonight, I've come into contact with a lot of people's lives and gotten involved in their fates. And the only reason I was doing it was to regain my own lost memory. But things are different now. We're connected to each other somehow. I just know it. That's why I need to ask you a few more questions in order to find the truth about us. Fair enough. Fire away. Manipulator. Sizzle told me all about it, Detective Jowd. About the manipulator. Yes. And it looks like this manipulator really did a number on the minister, too. Ah! Please don't pick on the minister. Please don't pick on the minister. If he dies again, I'm the one who has to save him. Oh. Sizzle, do you think that's what happened to me, too? Hmm? What are you talking about, Lynn? Don't tell me. You were manipulated too? There was always part of me that just couldn't believe it. The image of the one who shot me. But now I see the possibility of a new explanation. She did seem weird before and after she shot us. But who is it? Why did they do it? That contraption was a birthday surprise for Camilla's mother, wasn't it? That's right. Something's been bothering me about it. I feel like I know that device from somewhere. No surprise there. You lost your life once tonight because of that machine. Right, I knew it. See, Detective Jowd? No, I'm afraid I don't see. I told Detective Jowd about it. I told him about seeing the exact same contraption tonight in a completely different place. That's very strange indeed. A junkyard on the edge of town. Never even heard of the place. And what's more, I've never told a single soul about the contraption. You haven't? Little pigeon guy. What in the world is he? Temsic. Detective Jowd. You must have heard his name before. Temsic. Meteorite that fell in the park 10 years ago. You were there. So you found out about that, did you? I hear that meteorite saved Lynn's life. That's right. I couldn't do anything to help Lynn that day. But in that case, I don't get it. If it's true, doesn't it mean you didn't steal somebody's life away? What are you talking about? Detective Jowd, you told me that 10 years ago, the person who killed the perpetrator in the park was you. What? But it was the meteorite. I wasn't lying. I stole that man's life away, no question about it. It was entirely my fault. I was just about to shoot him. I would have shot him in the next instant if the meteorite hadn't come. At that point, I was already a murderer. That's not true! You were trying to save me! Lynn, I'm sorry, but I don't think that's really it. Huh? Out with it, old man. On that day 10 years ago, a different incident happened at another place. Another place? Yes. In the police headquarters interrogation room. The worst sort of incident. A suspect who was being questioned escaped. Wow, I didn't know about that. I happened to be there in the detective division, so I joined the chase. Fortunately, or I guess unfortunately, I was able to track him down alone in the park. Hold it right there! I fired a warning shot. I wanted to catch him. Bad. That warning shot made him panic. At the time, I was a young and green detective brandishing my sense of justice like a sword. I made him panic and got you involved, Lynn. It was all my fault. Detective Jowd. All I could see was my target. I couldn't even see you. I'm so sorry, Lynn. So, the man who grabbed me died that day. These last 10 years, I've never forgotten his face. Then a few years after that, when my wife Alma died in such a mysterious way, I thought it was fate, my punishment for what I'd done. I painted pictures in my cell, nothing but portraits of people's faces. All the faces of the many people I'd met in my life, and I didn't want to forget. And tonight, I finished my last portrait, the final face I wanted to remember. Us. Final face. Yeah, I was worried about that. The face of the man in the park that day. Wait just 1 minute. That can't be. I saw that painting. I saw the face you painted tonight. It was my face. Are you telling me I was the man in the park that time? That's right. That face of yours is the face I saw 10 years ago. The face of the man whose life I stole. Of the man who was once pronounced dead at the scene. But hold on, Detective Jowd. That can't be true. I just met Cecil for the first time tonight. He died right in front of me. By the way, the name that I had known the man in the park that the name that I know the man in the park that day by isn't Cecil. What? From the first minute I laid eyes on you tonight, I've been wondering, who in the world is this guy? Oh. Mr. Minister. Inspector Cabanella, where are you? Speak quiet and listen. This is our demand. What? Demand? Our demand hasn't changed. The execution must be tonight. Once we confirm it's been carried out, we'll release the hostage. What are you talking about, Inspector Cabanella? You know it wasn't my daughter who was abducted. Does it really matter who the hostage is? A life is a life, even if it's the daughter of a death row prisoner. Once the criminal gets the punishment he deserves, the hostage will go free. Carry out the execution immediately and wait for our call. What is it, Mr. Minister? You look paler than ever. What in the world? What is going on, Inspector Cabanella? The rock of the gods that fell from the sky 10 years ago twisted the fates of many people and started a chain of tragic events. And even now, the chain continues to grow ever longer. Inspector Cabanella's call proved that to us. And the greatest mystery of all has risen to the surface. Who is this me I've been chasing all night? Who am I? I'm even further from knowing than when I started. To 55 a.m., Chapter 15. 10 years ago, a man named Cecil took a little girl named Lynn hostage, and then was killed by a meteorite fragment. Tonight, a man named Cecil and a detective named Lynn at a junkyard on the edge of town, and then was killed by a bullet. But the scene I find waiting for me on the other end of the phone line feels like the final nail in the coffin of my last memory. What? I see. Myself. Here you are, Commander Sith. Finally. Cecil, where have you been, my good man? We've been looking everywhere for you. Had a little unfinished business to take care of. Didn't think it would take this long. What about your people? They sure went out of their way to mess me up. I say, I believe we fulfilled every one of your conditions of our little deal. What right do you have to complain about anything outside our bargain? We can talk about that when we get together. This will be our last communication by telephone. We'll arrive in 1 hour. I look forward to seeing you, Cecil. Dawn is approaching. The darkness surrounding my own mystery is deep. I know it's always darkest before the dawn.
Yes. We're nearing the final stages of our little deal, my good man.
Yes, sir. All preparations are complete, sir. We just had a little report, sir. Lights have been spotted, sir.
Have they now? By all means, let me have a look.
I miss these goofballs.
Oh, that's new. Yes. We're very close.
I will now disconnect from the communication table. I have no service until we arrive, sir.
Very well.
Submarine. Nice try, Inspector Cabanella. You could never stop me. See you, sucker. Well, the submarine guy, his people have a deal going with me, do they? If that's the case, they probably aren't the ones who killed me, right? Anyway, there's definitely something behind the inspector's death. You better talk to him. If he's conscious. Hey, you think you could wake up for me? Oh boy, still unconscious, eh? I think he's been dead for very long then. Let's go ahead and go back to 4 minutes before his death. I'm a little nervous about what I might do, what I might see there, though. If that's where I'm, but that's where I'm always, that's where I'm gonna find my answers. Can't run away from it. Once the criminal gets the punishment he deserves, the hostage will go free. Carry out the execution immediately and wait for our call. That's a good boy. Gee, a hostage sure is a handy thing. Gives me complete control over the top police inspector in the country. What's the matter? All those broken bones smart a bit? What's it like to feel pain? Does it make you feel alive? Why are you doing this? Now, is that any kind of question for a top inspector to ask? Isn't it obvious? Revenge, of course. Revenge on all the people who stole my life away 10 years ago. Don't be ridiculous. It was a meteorite that stole your life. Or have you forgotten that? Wrong! I was murdered by all of you! Detective Jowd, who chased me down and forced me into a corner even though I was innocent. Lynn, that girl who was right there where I was running. Lynn, she was just an innocent little girl playing in the park. If that brat hadn't been there, I wouldn't have. I never would have thought of taking a hostage. That's the most self-centered garbage I ever heard. And finally, you, Inspector Cabanella. Me. If you hadn't done what you did, I never would have pointed a gun at that kid. You were so proud of your spotless record. My case was the one blot on it, wasn't it? Only two people know the real truth. Me and Detective Jowd. I bet tonight's execution will be quite a relief to you, won't it? One of the people who know about the stain on your record will disappear for good. That's why you didn't help him escape from prison. That's the kind of guy you are. I got nothing to say to you. You'd never listen anyway. Gods. Now then, Inspector. Time to make a big red stain on your spotless white coat. This was another condition of my deal. To wipe out everybody who knew about Tempstick. Okay. Revenge? That's what I'm up to? None of this makes any sense. Hey man. Want to tell me what's going on? Inspector Cabanella. So wait. My head's spinning, baby. Am I to understand that Cabanella character who just got shot is me? That's right. And you're supposed to be the scoundrel there who shot me? I guess so. You couldn't be, could you? Huh? After all, the guy in the red suit just walked out the door, right? So, who are you? Guess I just have to face it. I'm not that Sissel guy. I'm somebody who's searching for himself. That's why I'm here to save you. At the very least, you have information about the guy in red. Information I need. So you came on a rescue mission now, did you? Nothing like the sound of that, baby. Because there's a very important life here somewhere. A life valuable to this nation. Okay, so do your thing, baby. How do we... man. That's a good idea. Sure as anything. Manipulator 2. I have ghost tricks, powers with the dead, yeah, but I can't control living creatures. Anyhoot, I think you'd be very careful. Guy Red's a manipulator. Naturally, he knows about powers like yours. If he realizes you're here, things might get a little sticky. You're right. I'd better be careful. Look at him. There's that something emanating from his body. Is it really a sign of having special powers of the dead? So you're here, are you? Sense my presence? Oh, I don't, I don't, I don't like, oh, why you're hurting my face? We might as well give him now. I control everything. I don't like being stared at like that. Everything, please. Wait, don't shoot. Okay. Okay. I should have expected that, but didn't, and I am. I, mm. Okay, so that does that. Oh. What happened down here? Like a bomb went off. I think I'm starting to remember. Something bad happened here, and now there's another death lying hidden here. What? Another death? Didn't I tell you from the start? Didn't I say there was a very important life valuable to the nation here? I thought you were talking about you. This is a crazy character in a white coat, baby. The Pigeon Man. Rob Lucci. Hey, come to think of it, where's that old pigeon guy? I think we're about to find out. Yep, there he is. Excuse me. Are you awake? Of course. Never sleep during work hours. Professor, do you recognize me? There's only one crazy character in a white coat that I know of. He hasn't lost his memory. I'm not the type who likes losing things. But never mind that. Campanella, this is quite a surprising guest you've brought with you. Pretending like you didn't just blow up the place. Are you talking about me? Oh, this is a different guy. I'm his guest, actually. He came to rescue us. Unlike you, my sharp friend, he still hasn't gotten his memory back. Pitiful. Ouch, that hurts. Anyway, now we'll be going back to 4 minutes before your death. In order to change your fate, that is. But aren't we already in the past, man? We can go back even further. I've done it before. Still don't see a path to save Inspector Campanella. If we go back further, maybe I'll find a lead. Alright, Inception time. Going even further beyond. Okay. 2:42 a.m. We're inspecting our body. How many times do I have to tell you, Professor? This place is dangerous. Don't be daft. Can't leave now. It's completely dead. But just as I thought, I'm getting a reading. This is the source of his powers. If I remove it... He's not dead. He's just not there. The true form of the manipulator isn't something you can detect. It's a spirit. Ridiculous.
So you figured it all out, huh? But if I'm not me, then who's controlling me? You're a clever man, Inspector Campanella. So it's really true. I wasted a lot of time tonight because of you, Inspector. It's all just like you said. I died 10 years ago. This body is just a vessel. A shell. I control everything. The shell, people, just like I control the Justice Minister and Lynn. So it's true. You were manipulating my baby that time. You made her shoot your shell. But why? Why would you do a thing like that? To create conclusive evidence. You know, on that security tape? Now she's a murderer too. She'll suffer just like Jowd did. Now then, Professor. I'm afraid it's time for you to die. I don't have any grudge against you. I'm even grateful to you. Oh yeah? So why don't you let me live then? I'll be leaving this country forever tonight. Before I do, I need to erase all evidence that these powers of mine exist. Along with the contraption in this room. This time the thing will work the way it was meant to. It'll all be over. Cupid won't turn this time. He'll shoot his arrow this way. Professor, look out! Dynamite, eh? When the devil did he put that there? Planned it all out tonight. Having my baby shoot him. Having his corpse disappear. His corpse disappeared? Right. Medical examiner. Remember him? He was a complete and utter imposter because he was blue! So he was going to take the corpse back to the lab, but he already made a deal with the manipulator to meet him and give him the body back. But I wasn't going to let that happen, baby. You saw through their plan, eh? I noticed right away the medical examiner didn't know the first thing about examining a body. I knew he was a fake, so I tracked him down and bought him off. Bought him off? I had him smuggle the corpse to this room. I thought we could find the source of his powers. Of course, never in my wildest dreams did I think his abilities were powers of the dead. Anyway, there isn't much time. He's leaving the country before dawn. I'm gonna follow him, of course, after I save you two. Something's been nagging at the back of my mind. I don't know what Ray said to me tonight. He said that spirits cease to exist when the day breaks. If that's true, how could a spirit 10 years ago still be here? No time for thinking now, baby. Action is the name of the game. Work your magic and take us back, even further into the past. Trick time. Alright, man, jump in there and stop that explosion, would you? It's easy enough for you to say. Foolish of you to say, too. If you stop the explosion, let's do me in some other way. Fair enough, then jump in there and take care of the man in red, would you? I repeat, easy enough for you to say. It's likely impossible to boot. The huge explosion didn't even make him bat an eye. What do you propose then, Professor? Prof, pray tell. Your best bet is to save me during the explosion without him noticing. Easy enough for you to say. You jump in there and do something. Miss, I think. So we know he's here. Where? Maybe you should start over. Maybe you shut up. Found you.
Aha!
We made it. We figured it out.
Sorry, little pigeon. As for you, Inspector, I have a little job for you. I can't move. I think I have 4 or 5 broken bones. I don't mind. It won't prevent me from manipulating you. It might make it hurt a little bit. I move you though, quite a bit actually. Damn you.
Fate averted. Da-da-da. You'll be fine.
I can't believe it. You actually pulled it off. Sorry, Inspector Cabanella. Can't do anything to help you. And there I am, a poor, broken heap of arms and legs. But no matter, I enjoyed the show. Magic disappearing act, that is. Nothing like it, baby. Yeah, except unlike normal magic trick, I'm the one that managed to vanish without a trace here.
Updated the phone book.
So that's one. What's the matter? Looks like you'd rather be dead now that you aren't. I was just remembering the fact that right about now, the real me has given the poor Justice Minister a real fright. Oh, that phone call. Yeah, he was pretty upset.
Excuse me, mister. You really shouldn't be mean like that.
What's this lively little creature?
Oh, this little doggy is the warrior who keeps Camilla safe.
Or he would be if he was actually still full of life. Camilla. Gods in heaven, what a horrible thing. Poor little girl taken hostage. It's a cruel twist of fate indeed.
Wait just a minute. Miss Camilla is a hostage?
Yes, we're sorry, little warrior.
Miss Camilla, a hostage? What's a hostage?
Anyway, Inspector Cabanella, it's time to save your life now. You couldn't get very far when you tried before. Am I right?
This time it's different, right, Cecil?
That's right. With us working together, it's a whole different situation. We'll save the Inspector in white. Then we'll go rescue Camilla, okay?
Okay, let's hurry up and get through this.
Gee, kids, you make me feel like an afterthought. Alright, let's get started. Inspector Cabanella is upstairs, so our first step is to get up there.
So I'll go up first and wait for you.
Okay, lovey-dove. We need your help. Here's this measuring device upstairs. It's Mr. Ghost in it, so don't drop it. Yep, that works.
There you are, Cecil.
Sorry for the wait, missile. 4 minutes from now, the inspector will be killed by a gun. You just jump in there and stop him from firing, would you? There you go again with that stuff. Besides, it doesn't make any sense. If you stop him from firing, he'll just kill you some other way. Hey man, that sounds familiar. Yep, same situation as mine. Best bet this time around is to allow him to shoot and save Cabanella without him noticing. Oh, it's even worse than last time. Anywho, jump in there and do something.
Okay, I'm ready to jump in, Cecil.
Don't forget, whenever you want to use my powers, slap ZR. Can't reach the helmet.
Okay, let's run that back. Okay, so back from here, that's fine. That's it. Oh, gosh. Ah. Oh. Oh my god. Hey. What? Okay. understand. Okay, okay. I think I've got it. Okay, okay. It's fine. It's okay. We're getting it. I am not upset right now. I am upset that we have to constantly go over dialogue again, but whatever. Yeah, in that time, I have to get that helmet down. So what I thought was, okay. Seeing the pieces all play out. We're good. We're good. So in that moment, we have to both swivel. He didn't notice. I thought you noticed, and that's why I... So I had it right. Gamma. I hate to say it, but I don't think I'm gonna finish this. There we go. I don't think you noticed. Looks like you pulled off another magic disappearing act. And now I say it again. I love knit hats. So warm and, most of all, soft. Did I do all right? You did a fine job, little one. You saved another life. And I'll keep doing it, too. Over and over! Fate averted. But I saw him just these 4 minutes. Give me all the answers I've been looking for. All our research these past 10 years pales in comparison, right, Professor? So you two were working together. That's about the science of it, yeah. Who'd believe a story about a manipulator? So we pursued it ourselves, just the two of us. I'm quite a crazy character myself, after all. Okay, let's hurry up. Back to our time. We have to rescue Miss Camilla. You're right, Missile. There's a certain guy I have to follow, too. After completing his revenge on Inspector Campanella, the man in red left, and now a new story is about to unfold in a new present. How are you feeling, you old crazy character? Hey there, Prof. Both alive, I see. Yeah, nothing like it, baby. But I don't know if I'm getting old or what. I've had a few aches and pains here and there. Used to be a little thing like an explosion wouldn't bother me. Yeah, right. Like I'm gonna believe that. So what, the guy in red is gone, eh? Just in case, I posted special investigation units all around the building. I just pray the boys came through for us. Nope, you got broken bones. You're staying down. Damn it. You picked a bad time not to listen to me, body of mine. Trick time. I knew things were going to end up like this. Or if I knew, I would have tried to die in that explosion. That way I could have been dancing after Big Red by now. Might be able to raise stats, but it's true I can't do much about injuries. But really, you shouldn't talk that way. Yes, sorry. I suppose you're right. I just hate feeling so helpless. God, if that's a mood. It was right there within my grasp. All our plans were resting on tonight. And then this had to happen. As he's thinking about his spotless record. It's not too late, Inspector. We still have a chance. Maybe I can catch him. Say, you're right. That's not a bad idea. I'll cooperate with you fully. Go ahead and fire away with any question you'd like, Mr. Ghost. Revenge. That guy mentioned revenge. Revenge against the people who stole his life away 10 years ago. He's a fool. He's the one who made the decision to take that little girl hostage. And he wound up dead. The only one, he only has himself to blame. But what about when he said this? I was murdered by all of you. Detective Jowd who forced me into a corner, Lynn, the girl playing in the park, and finally you, Inspector Campanella. If you hadn't done what you did, I never would have pointed a gun at that kid. Yes. 10 years ago on that day, the Special Investigation Unit was working on a certain big case. We held a young man, an important witness to our investigation. Then I did it. I made two very stupid mistakes. Detective, I'm telling you, I don't know anything about it. Fine. You're under no obligation to talk, of course. But if you don't, the SIU will can make the rest of your life a living hell. But I just been assigned to the Special Investigation Unit, you see. They didn't share much info on big cases with a newbie like me yet. I wanted to impress them. It was only supposed to be a simple matter of taking his statement. I was too green. I pushed him too hard. I drove him into a corner, made him lose all hope. That was my first mistake. Then I made another mistake on top of that. Campanella, got a minute? Chief wants to see you about your report. Got it. I'll be right there. You stay right here and be a good boy now. And that's when I did it. I left it behind in the interrogation room. My gun. How could you? I used my gun to escape. What he said is true. If I hadn't made that mistake, I never would have had a gun to point at Lynn in the first place. We first found out about the manipulator's existence during a certain overseas communication. Overseas communication? For national security purposes, this country keeps tabs on the communication networks. This particular communication was about making a deal with a certain foreign country. He said he wanted them to buy him and his powers. That's how we first heard about him. Of course, we didn't know what he looked like at the time. In order to prove his powers of his, he gave them 2 predictions. He foresaw 2 completely preposterous, impossible cases. The case of a man who had seen national secrets during a live rock concert broadcast, and the case of a man who would take the chief commissioner, and the case of a man who would take the chief commissioner hostage in his own office. It's 2 inmates at special prison, eh? We kept tabs on their communications and launched an investigation. And finally, we pinpointed where they were going to meet tonight and staked it out. That restaurant, the Chicken Kitchen. The manipulator plans on leaving this country tonight on a submarine that belongs to the other country in this deal. Submarine? But we haven't been able to figure out where it's going to surface. It's terrifying to think what would happen if his powers were to fall into their hands. Right. Highly unlikely they'd use him for peaceful purposes. Now they have that little girl as a hostage. Milla. We have to stop him before he leaves the country. Alright, Mr. Spotless Record. Is it really important to you? Of course, baby. In some ways, it's more important to me than life. And your life, huh? After all, it's because of my record that I'm able to get my hands on all intel as head of the Special Investigation Unit. And because of my position, I get to direct all aspects of the investigation into the manipulator case. The manipulator case? That's why you cared about your records so much. Of course. Why else, baby? I just never could believe it, man. Jowd shooting Alma. I didn't care that he confessed. There was definitely something more to the story. Some secret. I did everything I could to climb the ladder. Everything in my power. Then I finally found the answer. It took 5 long years, though. The manipulator is going to prove that Jowd is innocent. What incredible determination. There's one thing I just don't understand. If you were so determined to help Detective Jowd, why didn't you help him escape from prison? That's an easy one. Escaping from prison is a crime. I wasn't about to help him commit a crime after spending 5 years trying to prove him innocent. He himself asked to be executed, you know. As a man of the law, I had to make sure the execution was stopped legally. That's why I brought him before the Chief Justice Minister, too. I needed to buy as much time as I possibly could, baby. So that's it. There's one little unfortunate result of all this. Lynn completely misunderstood your intentions. Ha! That's a little misunderstanding. I bet it'll come around. Give it time. There are more important things to do with our time tonight. Right. Mr. Superintendent, Do you mind if I talk to you for a minute? I've always been the junkyard superintendent. Haven't always been a junkyard superintendent, you know. I used to be part of the police. Police. Not as a detective, but as a medical examiner. I investigated victims' cause of death. 10 years ago, I was asked to autopsy a strange corpse. Hit by a meteorite fragment and died instantly. That's what the police report said. There's no signs of life. He was definitely dead. They never filed an autopsy report. That's because the corpse suddenly vanished, leaving behind only one clue. An unusual corpse. Bet that's what I've been chasing all night. Could you tell me more? Yeah, sure. I've been interested in you recovering your memory and finding your true identity, too. It's the only way I can describe it, too. It's an unusual corpse. He was dead, alright, no question about that. But there wasn't a scratch on him. Not a scratch? I thought he was hit by a meteorite fragment. I don't understand it any more than you do. I was completely bewildered. When I tried to autopsy him, I was even more puzzled. I couldn't perform the autopsy. You couldn't? What do you mean? The scalpel went in. I couldn't cut. As soon as I tried to make an incision, it would heal up the very next instant. That's how it went. No scarring or blood either. And I never had the chance to solve the mystery. That's because the corpse up and vanished on us. The morgue is well guarded. Nobody could have stolen that body. There's one way the corpse could have disappeared. What's that? He got up and he walked away. He was dead, but he wasn't dead. We saw it with our own eyes tonight. Not even that explosion could kill him. I didn't even feel it when he slammed his fist on that stove. The corpse left behind some data from some testing I did. I got some readings for some kind of radiation coming off that body. Radiation? I used all kinds of instruments. I couldn't determine exactly what kind of radiation it was. Some undiscovered type from a world unknown. Wait a minute. Could it be? That's right. It's coming from the meteorite fragment. I went to that park and tested the spot where the meteorite fell. And just as I expected, I detected radiation coming from that crater. It was the exact same pattern of radiation as that of the corpse. At the time, I thought he was some kind of immortal being. He would die, only to come back to life. I wanted to research it all in depth, so I quit my job as a police medical examiner. Several years later, I came to learn the connection between my research and the manipulator case. Thanks to the arrival of this crazy character here. Oh, stop now, Professor. You want to see me blush? It was about a year ago, I'd say. This man in white came dancing into my research lab here. I heard there was an oddball here who was researching Temsic. Is that you, baby? Who are you calling anybody an oddball? I was investigating the manipulator case then. When I heard there was a man who'd quit the police force to study the meteorite, Then I heard there was force strike the meteorite. When I heard that, it was like a meteorite had struck me on the head. At the time, we were just starting to get leads on this manipulator. We didn't know who it was yet, but we knew he was communicating with a certain foreign country. In one of those communications, we heard the manipulator say this: "The source of my power is not of this world." And that's when I put 2 and 2 together, baby. The manipulator case and Temstick were somehow connected. Which also explained how 5 years ago he used his powers to manipulate a birthday surprise a little girl made for her mother. He added that gun to the contraption, most likely controlling Camilla. So that contraption in the basement here, you built that to try and help Detective Jowd. That's right. Jowd and I worked together back when I was with the Force. He used the reports of his case to try and recreate the device. There was just one part of it I couldn't reproduce, no matter how hard I tried. Camilla told Jowd it did something it shouldn't have, made an impossible move. I added that part to the device I recreated. I put in a part that would allow a qubit to rotate, otherwise the gun wouldn't fire. So that must mean somebody manipulated Camilla's contraption. As a result, we proved to ourselves that the manipulator actually existed. Oh hey, Lynn's here. Hey, baby. Sorry about that phone call. Must have sounded like a real villain. I hate to spoil your image of me. And the cool cat inspector you always looked up to. Is that really the image she had of him? Man. Inspector Campanella, I'm sorry. I just heard. You're chasing after that man all this time to try and help Detective Jowd. This manipulator is such a dangerous character. I was hoping you didn't have to be involved. That's why you had me arrested tonight, isn't it? Like I always say, if someone's in the way, throw him in the slammer. Yikes. Tonight. I really thought we had him. But my body gave out on me right at a critical moment. It's like a cruel joke. But a joke is a joke. You might as well laugh. Jowd! The minister called off the execution order. And while he was at it, he let Detective Jowd go free until tomorrow morning, too. Pretty extreme while he was at it. Everybody in this room has died at least once. Sorry it took so long to get here. You can leave the rest to me. Here you go again. Always been like that. Make everyone else run around and then you swoop in at the last second. Jowd. Oh, that was his coat. 5 years ago, you left this coat with me just before you turned yourself in. I promised to give it back to you one day. Yo, the squad, though. Not sure how I feel with this striped jumpsuit. I've been waiting so long to touch Jowd. Waiting for this day to come. Thanks for not giving up on me, Lynn. Okay, I'm off then. Good luck, my old friend. This present you gave me. It's just what I needed. Thank you. Glad you like it. Sissel, are you there? Yeah, I'm here. You and I have to go find that man. I need your help. Would you do this with me? Sure, but how? We don't know where the submarine is and the phone line doesn't work. They use communication cables to make their calls. I'll get you hooked up somewhere, you'll see. Could you wait here until we do, please? Okay, fine. I'm counting on you. It's true stuff you're looking for. Bet you'll find it soon. Alright, I'm leaving, Inspector Campanella. It's almost dawn. I'm not who I thought I was. I'm actually further from knowing who I am than ever. But now I don't feel so alone. Each one of us, for his or her own reasons, is looking for the truth. Together, I think we can shed light on these mysteries and drive away the darkness. But it's almost dawn. I think that was all. Oh god, we still have this and another chapter after that. 4:19 a.m. This is getting dire. Lynn kept her promise about getting me hooked up. About 2 hours before dawn, the phone rang. Hello? This is Jowd. Cecil, are you listening? We need your powers. No time to talk. We'll be waiting for you. Well, you'd better get going. This long night is drawing to an end. Yeah, it looks like it. Thank you for all your help tonight. I'm the one who should be thanking you. At the other end of the phone line, I'm finally gonna find all my answers. Better go. A single telephone line connects me and the other Cecil. That single line spreads like a spider's web to ensnare the fates of many people. And I just reached the center of the web. Welcome to the Yonoa. Detective Jowd. My detective sense must have gotten rusty. I didn't even sense your presence here in the dark. That's because I switched the power to my mask off, Detective Jowd. I used your phone, hope you don't mind. Hey, Gad! Never thought you'd track us here. Especially seeing as you're a death row inmate. I'm equally surprised about your choice of transportation. Submarine, eh? But how did you find us, my man? Not even the police knew where the Yonoa was going to surface. Confound it! We detectives have a little say. If there's something you want to know about this case, ask the criminals. The bullet the man in red was shot with had a radio transmitter in it. I have a little something for you. Oh, everything's oh, sneaky little. Cabanela has given me some pretty weird presents in the past, but they always prove useful. This one was a radio receiver, made to look like a pocket watch. Yes. Inspector Cabanela. I hear he's an excellent investigator. By the way, where is that man in red? I know he's on the submarine somewhere. Ah, Cecil, you mean? You can relax. That's nothing but his shell. His shell, eh? His spirit isn't here right now. Most likely, right about now, he's controlling your daughter.
Please, I beg you. Let my daughter go. If you need a hostage, take me. Just please let her go. Ah.
There's something our nation needs. Cecil has it. That's all we care about, my man. Nothing else matters. However, it would appear Cecil has underestimated us. He's left behind his precious bargaining chip here.
Bargaining chip?
Our nation has already researched it. A product that Cecil has to offer. It's gonna be a piece of the meteorite, isn't it? Wouldn't you know? I know how to call him.
What in the world was that?
The Tempsic fragment. It gives spirits special powers. And now our deal with Cecil is concluded, as far as we're concerned.
What are you talking about?
Tisk, tisk. What a mistake to make right at the most critical moment. Now then, Detective Jowd. Farewell.
What in the world? The whole room just vanished. Detective Jowd. Where'd he go?
What now? I heard an explosion somewhere. In any case, Lynn and the little lady should be here somewhere. I smell danger. We better find them, and fast. There's the telephone up there. So you're here, huh? It's Missile! Yes, I think even I remember who you are by now. What do you suppose that shock was a minute ago? I have no idea, of course. Just a little sheltered apartment dog. With my loss of memory, I can't say I'm much better. Anyway, sorry if I go say Miss Lynn and Miss Camilla. Do you think that trusty nose of yours can sniff them out? I'm sorry to say, I don't think I can. I'm not even bothering to ask. You do have the power to swap objects. So let's find that little lady detective, and that little lady together. You got it.
That's a phone, but as we get there. Ugh.
Wow. It's Miss Camilla, I just know it. My trusty nose is practically screaming it at me. I think you'd call that more of a hunch. Okay, let's get to that phone before it stops ringing. Okay, we're going. Nobody's answering. Of course. Of course Lynn is dead. Miss Camilla and Miss Lynn. Oh, poor Miss Lynn. Yeah, she can't seem to catch a break. So you know the tragedy's happened. Sorry to keep you waiting, little lady. Sissy, I knew you would come. Miss Camilla, Missile too. I'm so glad to see you're alright. Well, I wouldn't say I'm alright exactly. Hey, wait a minute. Missile, your voice. I think I remember hearing it somewhere before. It's a courthouse, that means she did hear Missile's voice before when he saved her that time. So that was you, wasn't it, Missile? You're the one who saved me in the park tonight. Thank you. Miss Camilla. I'm so glad I was born your little doggy. Hey, Missile. Did you stay here and watch over your mistress for a while? Huh? But don't you need my powers? I'll see what I can do on my own for a while. After all, you're the only one who can protect her. I'll do it. Thank you, Missile. It's rewind time. We have to get there first. What happened this time? Better talk to the little lady a little more. Then I better do something about that detective lady. Can I talk to you for a minute? Yes, Sissy? Could you tell me what happened to you two? What happened to you? What happened after I last saw you at your old house? Oh, let's see. After that, I think I fell asleep. I woke up to the sound of an engine. She was already in the submarine by then. I thought to myself, I have to escape. Next thing I knew, I found myself in this big room. I was so tired I couldn't move. And then I was so relieved. I don't remember what happened after that. She must have passed out, the poor thing. You've been through so much. You were very brave. I think Lynn's probably been through more than me. You've both been brave. Lynn. Oh, Cecil, you're here. Lynn, what in the world happened here? I don't know. Huh? Just sort of blacked out all of a sudden. Next thing I know, I was dead. I guess you wouldn't know. In that case. And where's Detective Jowd? Is he alright? I don't know. Huh? The room he was in just disappeared all of a sudden. Now it's all making even less sense than before. After we left the super's office, we followed after the man in red. We tracked him with the radio transmitter, and Inspector Campanella fired into him with the bullet. The man in red took a boat out to sea from a small harbor in the edge of town. Detective Jowd and I managed to secretly stow away on his boat. Then we sneaked into the submarine with him when it surfaced. Before long, the submarine dove back down again. Detective Jowd and I decided to split up. He would take care of the telephone line, and I would look for Camilla. Found Camilla hiding here in the engine room. She had escaped and run away here. It was quite an adventure. What happened next? I don't know. Huh? There's a flash of light all of a sudden. Next thing I know, I was dead. Quicker to see for myself. Rewind time. Nope. Camilla, are you okay? Hello, Lynn. Where's the detective now? It's been 10 years since we last met. Are you really that man from the park 10 years ago? Well. I see there's no need to introduce myself. Give Camilla back. She has nothing to do with any of this. I'm afraid I can't do that. This is my last chance. Phone is ringing. It's not for me. Nobody ever calls the dead. The fact that you're here means that my revenge plan has failed. Revenge plan? It didn't happen tonight, did it? It was execution. Well, knowing him, I have expected as much. That's why I was waiting here like this, waiting for him to show up. Wouldn't it be just what he wanted, to be executed by his own daughter? I heard about 10 years ago. I feel sorry about what happened to you. But revenge? Nobody could possibly know, but I've... What in the world? Explosion? Uh-oh. I've got a bad feeling about this. Have I been had? Revenge, huh? It's a feeling I just can't understand. Of course not. You're not him. She's right. I'm not him, am I? He was going to shoot Detective Jowd. Ask Camilla when he came to rescue her. It's just too horrible. Anyway, let's bring you back to life again. You didn't have to add the again part.
Trick time.
Alright, so let's see. The cause of death this time was a mysterious explosion. Pretty up for a dead woman. You know how detectives love a good mystery. It's like a shot of vitamins. What do you mean for a dead woman? Anyway, I guess we should look for a way to stop that explosion. Alright, let's do this thing. Finding clues is like a dish of minerals to a detective. I'm afraid with my memory loss, I have no idea what vitamins or minerals are. Okay. Can't do anything so far. So can't do anything. Hello? Anybody there? If anyone's still there, get yourself here. On the double, we're about to head out. Speak up! Why don't you answer? Anyway, come if you're coming. We're leaving. Yeah, I might as well go there. We can reset later. So it must be true what they say. There are restless ghosts on board. Update the phone book. That does it. Promise to turn over a new leaf, Mom. What are they calling restless ghosts? Well, it's true. Neither of us is really resting in peace. Looks like the sub just lost one of its crew. I think this sub changed slightly. Sizzle has underestimated us. He left behind his precious bargaining chip here. It's Detective Jowd. What's going on there? I saw this little deal go down once before. In just a moment, the man in red is about to get his Temsig fragment taken away. Without the other party present. I'm just gonna go ahead and steal the Temsig fragment. That's cheating! We have more important things to worry about right now. Where's the Temsig fragment going to? The objective has been achieved. Now we detach the control room as planned. Yes, sir. Very well, sir. So that's what that was. Oh, room just disappeared with Detective Jowd in it. Orlin, I bet Detective Jowd can take care of himself. The main thing right now is rescuing you and the little lady. Can't believe this is happening. Now then, I'd better hurry along, before Sizzle discovers that he's lost and comes after me. Yonoa will be his coffin. Let's lie buried here in the deep sea forever. Farewell, Sizzle. That's the cause of the giant explosion. What is? Don't tell me there's another thing you've forgotten. A torpedo. It's like, well, have you ever heard of a missile before, haven't you? Yeah, sure. A different missile comes more readily to mind. Looks like he plans to sink the submarine with that thing. This is not good. I need to do something before the torpedo's fired. That was literally all it needed. We managed to stop death for now, but it hasn't disappeared altogether. It's now slowly but surely filling the room. Uh-oh. Water seeping into the hole where the torpedo hit. Gotta get them out of here. We're gonna meet up with Lynn. Lynn. Camilla, you're awake. How do you feel? I'm so sorry. I'm sorry I pointed that gun at you. Don't worry about that. That wasn't you. Miss Camilla. Oh, Missile, you're here. Oh, poor Miss Camilla. Miss Lynn, what should we do? We have to get out of here before any more water comes in. Sissy should come along any second. I knew Sissy would come. And Missy is here too. I'm so happy everyone's going to be with me now. Camilla? Miss Camilla! I'll get you out of here. If it's the last thing I do. Oh, I think I'm gonna cry. Or whimper, as the case may be. Or send a signal to Lynn that I'm here, before it's too late. Oh, look at that flashlight. It's Cecil. He's here. Up you go. I'm glad you're here, Cecil. Sorry for the wait. Looks like this room's gonna fill up with water fast. Better get out that door as quick as we can. We won't be getting out that door, I'm afraid. The water pressure is too great. It's too great already. I can't open it. What? What does water pressure mean? Think of it as the force of the water holding the door closed. The water level keeps getting higher and higher in here. The only way out is up, huh? Exactly. Okay, I got it. Let's look for a path that goes up. Look at that ladder. I wonder if we can get it down somehow. Good idea, let's try it. Oh, and by the way, yes, I can't swim. Neither can Camilla. Don't you have any good news for me? Let me think about it. In the meantime, could you hurry, please? I'm in hyper-focus mode here. I'm not even... What happened now? Looks like the submarine decided to rear up on its hind legs. Can't believe we're still okay after that fall. Either we're really lucky, or we're dead and we just haven't realized it yet. Come on now. Since the latter could be true. Not good. What now? Water sure is rising fast. Come on. You'll just have to go up to the top. See how I can help with my ghost tricks. Oh, well, I think I see a familiar flame over there. Cecil, there you are. How's it going? How's it going? I'd say it's going pretty badly. Do you understand the dangerous situation? You do understand how dangerous the situation is, don't you? Of course. After all, just ask anybody who knows how much I hate taking a bath. Maybe he's been in danger of drowning himself before himself. Okay, ready to create a path for these ladies? Of course. Trick time. Let's see. What do we have to play around with here? Large fan, medium fan, and another medium fan. There's a small fan. Pipe, pipe. we gotta get to this door. Okay. This steam is getting in the way. It's too hot to get through. What? There's no way to go around either. Think you need to do something? Of course we can. We have to. Not what I meant to press. happened? I can't believe my eyes. Then the little lady suddenly vanished, leaving only darkness and seawater. The submarine continues to sink down into the deep, deep sea. I still want to try and make my way up as far as possible. Still want to head up, find a single ray of light to illuminate the truth at the bottom of this deep, deep darkness. Oh, I really shouldn't do this, but I really want to finish this tonight. 17, 5:10 a.m. Final chapter. Hopefully, I'm able to do this quickly. The up-ended submarine continues to sink slowly but surely. A long, long journey to the bottom of the sea. Lynn and the little lady found the darkness and salt water closing in on them. At the very last second, something saved them. Now it looks down at them quietly. My head is filled with one giant question. What in the world is this thing? What? So you managed to survive, Detective. Excuse my appearance. I seem to have lost my body. Oh, man. Oh, and you there. You're the ghost who's been saving Lynn all evening, aren't you? You knew about me all along? Of course. What else would explain all those unnatural things happening? You knew? If you knew, how come you didn't do anything about it all this time? How come you decided to save us all of a sudden? I thought you wanted to get revenge on us. I don't really know. Please, you gotta tell me. I need to know. Who in the world are you? I can't hold on to that image of myself any longer. You can't remember who you are? That's right. I came all this way tonight, trying to chase down my lost memory. For quite a bit of tonight, I thought I was you, Sissel. Sissel? My name isn't Sissel. But you'll remember really soon who you are and who I am too. What? The man in front of me is not me. I'm even further away from the truth. Or maybe not. Something is stirring in my mind. A memory about to emerge. Do I know this man? Now that I've shed my image of myself, I feel like I'm one step closer to the truth. They got us good. It's all over for this submarine. Its engine room is destroyed. There's a hole in the hull. And it's sinking as we speak. What are you doing here? I thought you had to deal with those people. They betrayed me. I was a fool to trust them. They already have what they wanted now. A Temsic fragment. I didn't know they had it all figured out. And they figured out the source of your powers? Yeah. That meteorite's radiation has two effects on living creatures. It gives power and time. If you don't mind, we'd like to hear more. These 10 years, I've been watching that junkyard superintendent do his research. And I think I've kind of got some of it figured out. Meteorite's radiation gives spirits special powers, like possessing possessing and manipulating objects. And in my case, swapping objects. Exactly. Apparently there are individual differences in the powers we get. It seems these powers change as time goes by. They do? Yeah. My powers have changed over these past 10 years. First, I can only manipulate small living creatures. Now then, how do you suppose we got these powers? It's simple. It is? How then? In a nutshell, we died while exposed to the energy emitted by the meteorite. It's radiation. That's what does it? Dying while being exposed to the radiation? On that day 10 years ago, a fragment of that meteorite pierced my heart, and I died. So of course I received special powers. Hey, wait a minute. Is that how I got my powers too? You know, you might be right. That's right. We still did die right next to the meteorite. Man, everything comes full circle. Aren't the Thames remnants still right there at that park? At the bottom of the crater? You're right. So that must mean I must have died in the presence of the meteorite's radiation too. Another effect of the meteorite's radiation has on us is that it gives us time. Again, I think this time effect is centered around the theme of death. It's not all that clear. So the fact that I can return to 4 minutes before a person's death is another effect of that meteorite. One of the characteristics of that meteorite is the ability to replay the moment of death. Replay the moment of death? This is so strange and confusing. I can't take it all in. Makes about as much sense to me as anything else. Yeah, strange and confusing. That about sums up the object that pierced my body that day. Thanks to that meteorite fragment, my very existence is a contradiction. What do you mean? That day, when the fragment pierced my heart, I lost my life. However, because it remained inside me, that fragment continued to constantly regenerate my body. In other words, my body was continuously cycling between the moments that separated my life and death. My body's vital functions stopped 10 years ago, but my body's time is perpetually stopped at the moment just before death. Time just stopped, huh? So I simply existed, not really alive and not really dead. Pretty much sums up these last 10 years for me, ever since that incident in the park. My body hasn't aged a day. My hair hasn't grown an inch. I think that old pigeon guy mentioned something. He said he couldn't cut this guy's body with the scalpel. So I guess as soon as the incision was made, his body would be regenerated. Before I left this country, I wanted to do one thing. I wanted to get revenge on the people who stole our lives. Our lives? As part of the deal, I made those guys promise to cooperate. Cooperate? You mean the kidnapping? It all went fine. I manipulated the justice minister, made him issue the execution order, but I thought he might call off the execution at the last second. That's why you went and started kidnapped. But they kidnapped the wrong girl. Little did I know, they had their own reasons for cooperating with me. Huh? Their objective was to wipe out everyone who had to do with Temzik. Detective Jowd was one such person, so they were happy to cooperate. Inspector Cabanella and that junkyard super, they were slated to be wiped out too. And as it turns out, I was one of their targets as well. So they stole my Temsic fragment, and here I am. They have one more final target. Lynn. You, detective. Me? If you weren't there in the part that day 10 years ago, I never would have thought of doing something as stupid as taking a hostage. Okay. I was just a little kid playing in the park. Yeah, I know. Huh? 10 years later and you'd become a detective, looking into Jowd's case. Tonight I invited you to a quiet spot on the edge of town. It was a trap, you see. I told you who I was. You never saw my face that day 10 years ago, so of course you didn't recognize me. I took possession of you, made you shoot me. Your subconscious resisted me. Such incredible power. It was the first time I wasn't able to control somebody completely. The aim was off. The first shot missed the mark. The junkyard was equipped with security cameras. I knew you'd be wanted for murder. That was my plan anyway. They had other ideas. They simply wanted you wiped out. Then, something threw a big monkey wrench into their scheme. I showed up. I was supposed to meet up with them after that, but then something went wrong. What happened? My body disappeared. Aha. The inspector in white was responsible for that one. A precious bargaining chip was in that body. I had to get it back, no matter what. That inspector caused me to no end of trouble. Why are those people targeting me? I never even heard of the Temsic meteorite. As you were looking into the Jowd case. I thought you would find out about Temsic sooner or later. That's pretty much the whole story. The only thing left to do now is wait for water pressure to crush the submarine. There are no cores that link from here to the water surface. I have an idea. We hook up a phone line and there are no communication cables down this deep. I meant for the submarine to be my coffin. A coffin for the dead. There's no escape. I think I kind of understand now. What you've been feeling these 10 years. You what? This feeling. Cut off from the world, all alone in a submarine. Sinking slowly into the bottom of an endless sea. This must be how you felt all along. Man. Camilla, is it true? We're stuck here? What? If my dad was here, I bet he'd save us. I'm so sorry. That's funny. What is it, Sissel? There's something I don't understand. Why would they go through all the trouble of detaching the control room? What? Why didn't they just steal the Temsic fragment and escape, if that's what they wanted? Why do they have to jettison your body off into the sea? That's a good question. I guess it doesn't matter why now. We'll never find it again. We have no idea where it was launched to. Wait a minute. Yes, we do. This will let us tell us where Detective Jowd is. A present from the Inspector in white. That's right. Detective Jowd told me to hold on to it for him. The bullet is still in the person's body in the command room, right? We should be able to tell exactly where it is with this. But even if we get out of here, even if we find out where it is, how do we get there? Should be able to figure something out between the three of us. With our powers. Right, Miss Lynn? Right. Oh, wait a minute. What about a torpedo? Torpedo. In any case, it's way too early to give up. Detective Jowd is our last hope. Well, let's get started. I'm really hoping this doesn't take much longer. It doesn't matter now. All I know is I'm truly glad I met you tonight. Thank you for everything. I'm glad I met you, Detective. We're going to see the other. We're going to see each other again, right, Sissy? Right, Missile? That's right. We promised, little lady. Of course we will. I'll never forget you, no matter what happens. Here goes then. Good luck, friend. These 12 seconds are lasting an eternity. I strive to think of a way to save Lynn and the little lady the whole time. How can a ray of light, of hope, reach this far down into the deep sea? Before I can think of an answer, the 12 seconds are up. Detective Jowd! The big masked man did this. You gotta bite him! Better not, you might break your teeth. Oh, he died, didn't he? Sorry for the wait, Detective Jowd. Who are you? Are you Sissel? Please excuse my appearance. I can't believe you made it here. How's Camilla? What about Lynn? Well, it's kind of a long story. I told Detective Jowd about everything that happened on the submarine Yanoa. So the submarine's badly damaged? Why would he do that to his own submarine? I wish I knew. I know the answer to that one. It's because he's afraid of my powers. You followed us? I didn't even notice. It's been 10 long years. Detective Jowd. Are you Romeo? So you remember me, do you? How could I possibly forget? So that's your real name, huh? Romeo? That's right. Those people on the Yanoa were calling you Sissel? That was just an alias I was using for my deal with them. I didn't see any need to tell them my real name. Could you do me a favor? Would you let me ask you some questions? I'm trying to figure out my true identity all night. Sure, go ahead. I'm sure there's plenty we can still tell you. Right, Detective Jowd? Right. 10 years ago, you were a top systems engineer, weren't you? Systems engineer? What's that? By the way, I'm a top Pomeranian, you know. Well, it's kind of hard to explain to a dog, but it's a person who's good at using computers. I don't mean to brag, but I was one of the best in the industry. That's how I got roped into joining that project. Project? What project? It was a project aimed at reorganizing the nation's top secret information. The goal was to build a new system using multidimensional programming theory. I was asked to join the project by an agent of the government. Doesn't sound like something a top Pomeranian would know anything about. To me, it just sounded like another challenging job. However, this project was also the target of a secret plot. But you can imagine the kind of crime the nation's top secrets might attract. Never thought for the life of me I'd ever have to deal with spies. It was never made public, but but every organization in the country moved on this one. And then one day, the name of a certain programmer emerged as a suspect. Yomio. He was the guy who built the core of the system. The police arrested you, and then that incident happened. He escaped from the interrogation room and took little Lynn as a hostage. By the way, Detective Jowd, when was it that I was proven innocent? About 6 months after your death. I'm so sorry, Yomio. 10 years ago. My soul was split from my body, and I lost everything. I was sealed in eternal darkness. I existed in this world, no question about that. But nobody noticed my presence. What good were my powers? They didn't help anybody. Not even the passage of time could heal my pain. In fact, it only made it worse. I wanted to disappear. I wasn't even allowed to do that. The way Lynn described it is exactly right. Sinking slowly toward the bottom of an endless sea. Overwhelming feeling of loneliness and despair. I wanted all of you to suffer what I was suffering. So that's why you murdered Alma. That's right. I wanted to know that. I wanted you to know what it was like to lose everything you cared about. I wanted you to feel the same pain I felt. What? It was a twisted wish of a mind poisoned by infinite loneliness. And then, as I was plotting my revenge, I had an idea. I came up with a plan to use these powers of mine to make a deal. Something I just don't understand about that deal. I'm sure your powers would be very valuable to them, but what would you get out of the deal? A new life. Life? I asked them for 2 conditions. Number 1 was that they helped me with my revenge plot. The second was a rebirth for me. A rebirth. A new beginning. I didn't care if it was a fake life, an artificial life. I just wanted a physical receptacle for my soul. A name, an identity, everyday life. I wanted to grow old in a society that would accept me. And finally, I wanted to die, surrounded by a loving family. That's the kind of life I asked them for. A completely man-made life. That's right. I knew I couldn't hope for anything more than that. To make it all come true, I knew it would take a lot of money and a lot of power. That's why I decided to ask the national government to help me. Their response in the end was betrayal. They were making their moves much more carefully than I suspected. They sent spies to the country and researched my powers on their own. And they even figured out what Temsig was all about. You had no idea they were doing all this. None at all. I was a fool. So then, why did they go all out? Why did they go to all the trouble of making a deal with you? Why didn't they just steal a hunk of the Temsig meteorite from the park? They couldn't. Huh? Hey. After the manipulator incidents, research was conducted in this country too. A report was submitted to the government about the source of the manipulator's power. By Inspector Cabanel and the old pigeon guy. At first, the government didn't believe the report. But then they decided to put the park under surveillance just in case. Surveillance? Just looks like an ordinary peaceful park. There are armed agents there at all times. Don't tell me that odd leaflet guy is one of them. No, not him. He's just a plain old odd person. The park is like a silent battlefield on an international scale. So that's why they couldn't steal the Thameslink meteorite. And lately, under the pretense of building a housing site, they've been working on a plan to destroy that park in order to secure the Thameslink meteorite. So that's it. So the upshot of your grand deal was this. Yeah, it's the ending I deserve. But at least there's one thing you must be happy about. What's that? You managed to seal me away forever at the bottom of the sea forever. Well, shall we get started? Started with what? Bringing Detective Jowd back to life, of course. What? What good would that do? Now? We promised. There was Miss Lynn and Miss Camilla, we'd save them. And we can't do that without you, Detective Jowd. I've been guided by fate tonight to this place. I won't give up now. Alright, fine. Let's see where it leads us. Here we go then. Right to 4 minutes before your death. I am praying that we do this quickly. Where are we headed? We're not headed anywhere, Detective. So enough, feel on board to launch us away, Detective. We will run out soon. That will be our destination. What are you talking about? That would mean that you're trapped here too. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm a remote controlled robot. Our country's use of technology. Your country's use of technology. It's just plain off. We get that a lot, Detective. Why would you go to all the trouble to do this? There's nothing but a shell there. It's hardly a threat anymore. Commander Sith likes to provide against any possibility, no matter how small, Detective. Possibility? What are you talking about? There's no need for you to know, Detective. Now it's time to say goodbye, Detective. In the end, your fate remains the same, it seems. It isn't over yet. It isn't? Or what the big masked man said? Any possibility, no matter how small. In other words, there must be a chance here somewhere. A possibility of turning this situation around. I know what this possibility, no matter how small, is that they're afraid of. My time is perpetually stopped thanks to the power of Thameslink. I cycle between the moments that separate life and death. Right, but not anymore. The Thameslink fragment has been taken away. Exactly. So what does that mean? I get it. Your body won't come to life anymore. The moment the Thameslink fragment was removed, my shell became a regular corpse. So let's see. That means you can go back? Back to 4 minutes before your death? But wait a minute. Exactly when is that death? It's simple. We'll find out. When we get there, let's move. This could be like the first death 10 years ago. I fell back through the cracks of time for what seemed like forever. And then I saw it. Final death at the end of this long night. Who exactly am I? I've already seen all the clues. All I have to do now is remember. The final journey to start the truth. To the truth starts now. No, I have to stop. As much as it pains me, it wasn't the finale. We still have freaking... Yep, and I don't know how long this is gonna take, so we'll finish this up before Pikmin 4 tomorrow. It is very late. Thank you for all that came out. And, yeah. We're finishing this tomorrow. And then, Pikmin 4.